everyone. Happy Friday. Welcome to the show. So today we have a packed show for you. Super excited. We have our expert traders, Bull, Barbie, and also Forrest, will be sharing some education with us, also their take on the market. We'll also be doing giveaways, of course. And then we have a great guest coming on, a live trader with MyFundedFutures. So that will be fantastic. You'll get a chance to ask lots of questions, and we'll learn today together. So happy Friday. Let's bring in our expert traders, Bull, Barbie, and Forrest.
Good morning.
Hey. Happy Friday, you guys.
Happy Friday and happy to see you this morning.
Thank you. It's good to see both of you. Forrest, you look super chill in your hoodie. You look relaxed.
My back is like, I've been joking about my back, but it's actually kind of messed up. So I'm like,
oh no, what's broken today?
Yeah, I gotta go hit it.
Your canes.
So I'm the OG, you know, I'm on my MacBook camera, but guys, trading doesn't require all that other crap I bring every day, to be honest.
Yeah.
So it just makes you look good.
I like looking good.
Wow. That's the nice thing about trading is like we can do it from anywhere. We can wear hoodies, pajamas, like you can look professional if you want. You can do it any way you want, which is what I love about trading.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Bull, Barbie, do you want to share it with us, your take on the market this morning?
Yeah, let's take a look at ES as usual. So we're still just holding the same little bullish pattern. So that's what kind of my first take is. We were kind of looking at this week. I always have my bearish scenario, but I kept leaning towards the bullish one, and that's just what the market keeps showing us. So every single day this week, we've closed higher than we opened. So that's something to take note of. That could change today, but right now we're on a pretty nice weekly candle. As far as levels go, I'll show you kind of what I'm looking at. So yesterday, the main target was getting back into the 59.25 area and see if we would chop around in there, and we did. Now we've broken out of it pre-market, and we did have a little bit of data come in. Here, we'll take a look at the data real quick because I did want to show you all that, because part of what I do on Fridays, oops, that's the wrong. There we go. Wrong calendar. Okay. Part of what I like to do on Fridays is kind of, I'm looking at today's data, and we do have the consumer sentiment coming in at 10. So that's something we need to kind of be aware of. But I also like to kind of look at what's coming next week, because I know that the big guys are too. Next week's pretty quiet. So right now we only have the unemployment claims as kind of the big, and PMI is the big red folder news on Thursday. So we could be expecting everyone to kind of be positioning for quietness. So what that could look like is maybe we're starting to not be as risk on. That's something I'm kind of taking note of there. But back to the chart. So we did really firmly claim this area yesterday. So today, if we're going to continue this pattern, we're going to be continuing higher. So what that would look at like is, maybe a little move down to retest the 30s, make sure that the buyers are real satisfied there, and then continuing more walk up. So if we do the more bullish scenario, that would be holding this 59.25, 59.35 area. And then even if we come retest it, keeping the walk up higher. We do have this big level up here. This was a daily fib level, but I'm going to show you one of the reasons I really am kind of watching this area. That's not just because it's a Fibonacci, but I did pull this from the daily. So let me show you. I think Forrest is going to like this chart, but
like days.
This is I actually use volume profile on NinjaTrader. It's where I started using it, and I just like it better there. So I had to kind of bring y'all over to this chart for a little bit. But these each one of these little volume profiles is basically a day. These are hourly candles. And something that I've been taking note of on the volume profile chart is this node right here. And this was on, so this was this, let me switch back here. This was this day over here that formed this node. So this was Wednesday's price action that formed this. So this node right here on Thursday, we traded below it and above it, but this is showing me that this is really, we've had a lot of orders here, and kind of this area in the market has kind of been satisfied. So I'm really looking for this to be a support level, and that one's coming at around 59.11. So let me go back to this chart. This will all make sense in a second. So 59.11 is right down below that. So if we do make a retrace lower, I want to see that area supported. So even if we do get through the 59.25 and kind of test down into the teens and down into the 10, this whole area is kind of what I want to see as support if we're going to continue moving higher both today and kind of into next week. On the flip side, sorry, what?
Well, you said this area. What were the prices?
Oh yeah, so this area, I was looking at the volume profile. That's like 59.10 up into this little low from yesterday. It was the pre-market low, I believe. Around no, this was the regular trading hours low, 59.17 area. So it's really like the 59.10 to 20. That's kind of the next area down. So if we do retrace and dip below and look for some liquidity to move back higher, that's kind of that zone that I'm looking at to stay really firm. Because if we get back below it, then I think we're going to end up kind of just chopping back around through these levels. It can get kind of ugly because we're talking about confidence. This whole move higher has been on confidence in the market. So if we start losing that, that's when it could get ugly. But we are riding on a lot of confidence right now. So that's kind of the move I'm making. See if we kind of finish these targets up here into 1970. The big obvious target up there is the 6,000, which sounds kind of crazy. I'm missing a level on here. Let me see if I can add it real quick. There's another level.
Get it back.
There it is. The 2024 close is up here too. So I don't know where that is on NASDAQ. We'll maybe Forrest has this one on there too. But the 2024 yearly close was 59.9025. So that's actually kind of my main target before we get up into 6,000 up there. If we keep doing the walk up.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it. And we never know. We never know if we're going to break out higher.
That's why I like to have kind of the different scenarios. Plus, then I'm not so married to the bullish scenario. I kind of have my contingency plans. Like if we can't hold that support from kind of a bunch of different things I was looking at, but it's really showing up on the volume profile chart. That's when I have my new scenarios kick in.
Yeah, I like that. It keeps you out from being biased, right? Like I've gotten into
I mean,
trouble.
even if I am biased, I have the points where I can switch.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard to completely avoid what you're looking at.
Yeah. And then you have your contingency plan. So you're ready to go. Yeah. So you guys chat. Do you guys ever struggle with being biased? I know I do sometimes, being biased and not being able to switch, or just being biased and not being able to just like cut the trade and walk away, right? Like I have in the past fought, and that's never a good situation. Yeah, let me know if you have ever struggled with being biased or being too biased and not being able to flip to a different plan. Type in 1 if that's happened to you in chat. Yeah. Oh, and people are asking, where's Luke? So Luke is not here today on a business adventure.
We didn't charge him up. Remember, he's a robot. So
yeah.
True.
It was a late night last night. Didn't get him charged.
Yeah. So hopefully next week he will be charged. Yeah. Okay. So I see Mazen typed in 1, Hob, Trader, Miguel, AMIR. You guys have all experienced that bias too. So Forrest, why don't you share with us your take on the morning market?
Let's take a look at it. I appreciate the VP. Love to see more of that. I'm mega biased in terms of what's used. No. So yeah, let's zoom out to NQ. Also, well, I guess just in terms of what happened yesterday, we did hit that higher target that I had traversing this shelf, right? When you zoom out, right? And so this was a target that I put up there on NQ. I have one dangling up ahead, right? 21.619.25. Next high. This is next The market's kind of staircasing higher. So that's the next step on the staircase. What's important, again, everybody needs to remember, is the weekly candle. Okay, so when you think of ATRs, the VIX has been dropping. This thing can grind up, right? In fact, it has been. That's why we had the grind up kind of yesterday, the choppy upward close. It's because this weekly candle is about tapped out, right? It's a very, very simple question. How big can a week be in this environment with the VIX dropping? And you can just look at the other candles, right? So that's something that I've kept in mind as we approach the end of the week after having a very, very strong week. This thing has to close in a reasonable manner. Upside target, nonetheless, is right there. If we go back to the 4, let's take a look here. Let's get rid of one of these indicators, and let's just have the visible range. And again, this volume profile is just for everything that's on the screen. It helps me get my bearings with where people are around whatever the current pivot is. So you can see we're chopping into a node here, right? This chop is a node, okay? And then coincidentally, this next target higher is an edge, and it's an edge in the auction, right? It's a little edge on a, some session, right? Some pivot high. It's actually a, high of that specific day. And then it's also the edge of this shelf, right? So in the middle of these two nodes here, it's a low value area, right? It's a lack of people here. So that's my next upside target. Downside, very obvious levels here, right? Confluence here at this set of prices, low value. There's this low that we put in from Thursday, right? Yesterday's is the edge of this shelf. So if we put some boxes around these nodes, there's that edge right there, confluence there. And then if we have a nice little top wick coming in on a weekly, we have a really red day, I would bring us down to 21,000, basically. So 464 points lower would be my max downside for today. But yeah, I'd say downside 1 would be like 21,250, downside 2, 20,009 or 21,000, let's call it. It's kind of how I'm thinking about the market today, y'all. But yeah, still an uptrend until the market proves otherwise, guys. Super duper important. Listen to the market. It's been going up. I think I said the same thing 4 days now. I'm a broken record, but if you would have just held long enough, you'd be green. So just keep that in mind when you're positioning this current market.
Yeah, that you're saying if you buy and hold like longer, holding on to trades longer, it would have paid.
Well, on the long side, because we're in a trend, obviously if you're trading, 10 in Q, you're going to have to be right immediately. But what it really means is that even if you're scalping or doing any trade at all, you're literally more likely to be profitable on the long side, just due to the current trend. If you're trading on the short side, you literally have to be correct within some amount of time, right? Because eventually the market will smoke you out of your position.
Yeah.
Right, on the downside. On the upside, the market's going to do the opposite. If you're wrong, right, say I go long right here, okay, I'm immediately wrong, the market's going to save me, right? So
if you're going to short, be fast.
be correct.
Yeah, be correct. Be a sniper. I see that there's a question. What is a node?
What's a node? Very simple. So I've thought kind of two terms for the nodes and call them shelves. A node, and I don't know if this is what other people call them that use volume profile. FYI, I kind of just developed this language, but it's just a grouping, right? This is what I would call a node. So that's a node right there. If we go way further out, let's get some more nodes on our screen. So here's one right here, right? It's an obvious peak, right? Up here is an obvious peak. Down here is a much wider group. And really what I'm thinking, guys, is that these are people's positioning, right? You can also turn on the up and down delta on this. I don't think it's useful. I don't really care. But yeah, it's just, these are just people. There's literally more people here and here than there are in here in this group of prices where we ripped up immediately, right? There's no one here. Very novel, but I use it for everything.
It's almost like the inventory of how people are positioned. Like a ton of people are positioned in the top node and in the bottom node. And
yeah, the market's going to seek out that liquidity when we talk about liquidity grabs. The other terminology that I use, so that's a node. I also call them high value nodes. So an HVN is a high value node. And then there's an LVN, which is lower value. And then there's a low value area, which is a set of prices. In general, though, when I talk about volume profile, like this is what trips up a lot of people is they'll look at the point POC line and forget that it's really the entire node is what we're seeking out. So whenever we talk about retesting a POC, it's that entire node, or really just in general. When I talk about traversing a day, like yesterday is a good example. It said we were very likely to fill in and just traverse that node. And it did eventually, right? But it's the entire thing. And then where there's a sharp change is where I kind of cut them off. But
okay.
yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I always thought it was just the one line, and I didn't ever think about it as the node. Thank you, Forrest. That was very insightful. Chat, what are you guys thinking for the day? What is your bias? Are you thinking bull, or are you thinking bear, or I'm just gonna sit out? Let's do a poll. Let's see where everyone's at today. Market is going to open in about 10 minutes. I see some shorts, bullish on accounts. Yes, we'll be doing some giveaways today. I see bull, long, seeing kind of a mix. So it sounds like both of you guys are kind of just sitting back, waiting to see what the market brings.
I'm in a long still from overnight. I'm holding. I have the break even stop, but I want to see how we push here at the open. We're either going to reach out and NQ and touch this target that I have, 21,619.25, or it's gonna round out this 1 hour area. Here's what I'm thinking. Either we're going to do one of these, target acquired, or we will round this out. So if we rounded it out, it would need to have a base kind of like this, right? And so we're going to come and seek some liquidity, probably this VAL right here, and then do something else and whatever. But we'll see. It's Friday, you know.
Yeah, Friday can be tricky day to trade.
I usually just keep my trades real short and quick and get in, get out on Friday. Unless we end up in a beautiful trend where you can start trailing, I'm done early, usually.
Yeah. So you guys, I wanted to share that today is the last day to get 30% off expert plans. So that's 30% off, and definitely use our code YouTube, and that helps support our channel. It helps support us. So YouTube, should we do a giveaway to celebrate that it's Friday? What do you guys think?
Should we? What does chat want? Does chat want a giveaway on a Friday?
I don't think chat wants anything free, guys.
That's they were really worried that without Luke here, we weren't going to have codes.
No,
Luke,
we
the
have
keeper of the
codes.
codes.
No trust. We are missing life lessons today, though. So
yeah, I see a lot of yeses. Oh, I saw one no. You guys, someone said no.
You don't have to have one.
Okay, so let's do a giveaway. Yes, I think it's about time. Let's do a giveaway before market opens. So market is going to open in 7 minutes. Let's see. Okay, so the first giveaway, I will let you guys get ready for it, right? It will be for 50 resets. So you guys get ready for it. Go tell all your friends. Make sure you like the show and also subscribe. So this giveaway you can only get if you are a subscriber. So get ready. It will be for 50 resets. All right, let's go. So the code for the 50 resets, here we go. It is GAP 100.
Where is it? There it is.
There it is. Hurry, you guys. You have to be so fast.
50 of y'all, 3 resets.
Yeah, and if you got it, let us know in chat. if you're
And remember, if you didn't get a free one, the code YouTube works for 30% off your resets too. That's what I'm told.
Yes. Thank you, Barbie. 30% off resets is a very good deal. Looks like the market is ripping higher on 6 minutes before market opens.
Well, NASDAQ is.
Yeah, the NASDAQ is.
Interestingly, the ES is not into that move yet.
Oh, interesting. So tech heavy. All right. Did we get anyone? Congrats. Oh, I see some people got it. Got it. Nice.
Got some W's.
Frenchy Trades. Got it. Awesome job.
If you guys want more codes, maybe we'll have more codes later.
Yeah. I'm hoping we do, right? Like, I think so.
Well,
all right. So, let's see. What else do we have for today? So we did our first giveaway and market is about to open. So when the market opens, I've noticed 10 minutes before market opens, it's called market on open orders. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with that?
This is not in my playbook. Teach me.
I've not used it.
Yeah, so market on open orders is similar to the MOC, market on close orders. So basically the institutions, I'm not sure the details as far as like what size they have to be, but they put in orders where the orders to buy or sell is market on open. It's a type of order. And that's why sometimes you'll see before the market opens, like you'll see like a big candle red or a big candle green because a bunch of orders are coming in at once. It's very similar to the MOC at the end of the day. So sometimes you can get a really good scalp trade in. Like right now on NASDAQ, we have this big red candle. It could be the market is reacting to some of the economic news that came out at 8:30. I was looking at that and I did see that there was unexpected U.S. import prices came in at 0.1% and the expected was negative 0.3%. That could be, we never know the actual reason why, right? Like why exactly the market is moving the way it's moving, but it's possible that could be what it's moving on. It seems like the market's been very sensitive to, inflation data, trade data. It's kind of what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
I think any forward-looking, or like especially when it comes to inflation, there's kind of this inherent ask of like consumer spending. That's why new new home purchases. I can't. That's not the exact.
We had was it pending home sales? I actually just looked at it.
Home sales. Yes.
Oh, building permits. It was building permits today.
Building permits, pending home sales, inflation, and things like that give companies a really good look at like consumer spending and the health, the actual like real-time health of the economy. The interest effects, like companies are expanding. Interest rates don't have a real impact on anything immediately. The reason why it affects the market, guys, is because like if you're a business and you want to go build a building and you got to borrow $20 million, like money's either free or it's very expensive. So it can
the way wealth looks at interest rates is very different than the way that normal people look at interest rates.
Yeah.
Tell us more about that, Barbie.
That's kind of a long statement. But so I'm trying to think of the best way to put this, but we're just looking at what it costs to borrow and things. And when you have a lot of wealth, you can kind of borrow against your own assets, and it gets really complicated. But yeah, I think that's a long topic.
Okay.
I have to organize my brain to go over that one. We should talk about it sometime, though.
Yeah, in the future.
And yeah, it's like getting a HELOC on a really big scale.
Yeah.
Okay. So next up, we'll have chart of the day. So market's going to open in a minute.
Should we watch that first?
Yeah, let's watch the market open together.
I'm seeing some order flow come in. I'm wondering if we're going to eat up the sell candle on ES right now. I'm watching the ES order flow.
Oof.
We'll see if that holds.
Wow.
This is really hard to read on Fridays, but
yeah, some big wicks on this 5 minute before market open.
oh yeah, NASDAQ is wicking like crazy.
Jeez.
This is not the kind of opening candle that I really want to participate in. Hopefully it'll hit one of these levels. I mean, let's see. ES is below the VWAP and NASDAQ is above it. So we're getting that mixed condition open.
Does that give you information as far
It gives
as
me hands off?
hands off when
Yeah.
when they're not the same?
Yeah, I like them to be synced. Here they are. Now they're moving together low.
All right, market's open, you guys.
I'm still
Here we
seeing
go.
buyers down here. They're buying around VWAP. We'll see if that holds.
Okay, and it could be a gap fill. We're 40 some points higher in the NASDAQ. Sometimes the market likes to fill the gap.
The real time out gaps, we've been ignoring them so much lately, though.
Oh,
Maybe
you
not
noticed-
today. Maybe we're close enough today. It'll get it.
Yeah, I think statistically, it's more likely it will fill the smaller the gap is what I've learned. Yeah, the bigger the gap.
And I haven't done the statistics. I don't really know how to run the statistics on this, but I've noticed that the farther we impulse away from a gap overnight in the futures market, the less likely we are. I mean, it's part of it. I mean, it's just logic. It's more price to get through to get back down to there.
Yeah. And Forrest, you were looking at 2100 as a possible downside. Like if we do break down, 2100 would be kind of your area of like the most it could potentially go, or kind of what you're looking at if we go on the downside.
That would be the lowest. And I think I put it on my other chart, perhaps. I can't remember what chart I put it on. But yeah, 21,000 and then upside 21,619. 21,000 is like the maximum downside. The first level that I'll look at the test would be 21,185 right here. This very obvious pivot. And then 21K is assuming we rip through this low value area down here. I just want to focus on whatever.
Do you guys ever look at like the first 5 minutes as like an indicator of the rest of the day, or do you look at first 15 minutes or 30?
So we were talking about opening range a little bit the other day. So the opening range, historically anyway, kind of sets the tone for the morning session or even the day, but sometimes at least the morning session. So that is something that I kind of look at to see if we're going to stay inside. Well, I watch a 15-minute range lately anyway. And so I'm looking to see if we stay inside of that or hang around one, like the top half of it or the bottom half of it, or actually keep pushing through it. So that is something I'm watching too. I don't have that up on my charts yet, but I will be watching a little
uptrend versus downtrend with the opening range and which side gets cracked first and things like that. Or like
yeah.
What things are you looking for, I suppose?
I'm still working on all the back testing on this, but the things that I'm making note of are once we get that 15-minute range formed, are we staying in the above the 50%, the midpoint of it or not? And I'm especially watching the candle closes because a lot of the times with these morning wicks, we'll get a wick down, but it's immediately bought back up. So I'm paying a lot of attention to the lowest time frame candle closes in relation to the high, the low, and the mid, and then the extension from it. So I'm trying to filter out a few different sets of plays that we can take off of that. But the most basic, of course, is just the break and hold of that range, or holding outside of it would be indicating trend. And then if we can't, then the opposite of trend, chop.
Oh, okay.
We did come right down to the top of this little box, the 35 area on ES, which is also the value area low. So I'm seeing buyers down here on the tape. So I want to see if this ends up kind of reversing.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes we totally get tricked.
That's what I'm still kind of looking for that liquidity grab down into this box. If we're going to start moving higher, we've moved overnight. We were consolidating this during the regular trading hours, but then we actually moved out of it overnight. And sometimes I feel like the market has to be sure. We have to be really sure that no one really is going to sell down here before we can start moving higher, because it's not just us that wants the best deal. The rest of the market wants the best deal too.
I want deal.
I like deals.
Yeah,
I love deals.
Trend line
that's
one
the next
hour is
stop
long.
later, is going shopping, see if we can find some deals there. But
Yes. So when you say, when you're looking for like, if buyers are buying it up, are you mainly looking for kind of wicks or the
I'm
speed?
watching. So we were talking the other day about how people watch order flow in different ways. So you could watch it on Bookmap, or you could watch it on level 2 if you're really good at watching the numbers fly around. Some of the volume tools will kind of separate the buy volume versus the sell volume. And one of my favorites is the cumulative volume on Ninja Trader. So I watch that, and I watch it on a few different time frames to make sure I'm really seeing the move right. But yeah, I keep saying every single time we get down into this area, we get a push on the cumulative delta. And so that's measuring, if you look at if you're familiar with a footprint chart, if you're not, that's okay. But on a footprint chart, it's a little bit easier to see where you have the bid ask. So you have the bid and the ask, they're across from each other, like horizontally in rows. But if you're going to figure out if we're having buy volume or sell volume, you have to look at diagonally, comparing the bid and the ask. You compare it this way and you compare it that way, and you can figure out which way is more aggressive. And so that's what the cumulative volume profile is doing on my chart. So that's why I like to watch that one the best. I know you can still have icebergs and stuff on your chart and kind of combine that sort of thing. I don't, but there's so many different ways you can analyze volume, and I like to.
That's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to sometime in the future, like show what that looks like, the footprint chart. It's very fascinating.
Yeah.
So it looks like we're trying to fill this gap around 30 points above in NASDAQ, and ES, it's still kind of, it looks like it's doing the same thing here.
Yeah, we're starting to, they are kind of syncing up. I love to see them synced up, and I love to see the VIX kind of moving in the opposite direction. It's chopping around a little bit down here too, but
Yeah,
it has made a little bit of a move up since we opened, but it's not enough to really know what's going on yet. The VIX is, I just like to kind of look at the general trend of the VIX. I will watch it on a 5-minute and a 15-minute and things, but that's when I'm watching the intraday trend. And we don't have that yet because we've been open for 6 minutes. But
yeah, I can see us coming for these overnight lows here. We'll get stopped out very soon.
What is the overnight low?
So on ES, we're at 15. Well,
go ahead.
It's a 20. It's really the 25 level. It really goes down to 23, but it's that 23, 25 area is where we're looking on ES.
Okay. I did see a question from Mike's. Can you explain gaps, please? So different people use gaps, the term, differently, right? Like I've heard people use fair value gaps. I've heard single prints as people referring to that as gaps. To me, traditionally, like a gap fill is basically at market open, whatever that price is. Like let's say the market opens 100 points above in the green. That's 100 points above in the green since yesterday's close. So there's a gap there. And from my understanding, like that is the gap that statistically, like earlier when I was talking about statistically, it's more likely for a gap to fill the smaller the gap. So if it's, 50 points compared to 400 points, like that's kind of the difference. Great question.
Well, there are different kinds of gaps. So this is just, I think it's just called a common gap, like what you're talking about, where it's just the overnight price action. So I did it on my chart here. I have the ES on one side and the Qs on the other, because SPY didn't really have a good gap. But so just between the closed yesterday and the open today, we had a gap, and it has filled it. So this is kind of a good little example on the Qs over here. So it's literally just, it skipped over that price between the close yesterday and the open this morning. And then this little candle's going down. I like to look at it as cleaning up the missing price. And so when you hear about, fair value gaps and imbalances, like there's a bunch of different types of gaps. And this is the one that most people are talking about most of the time.
Yeah, it's a great question. When I was first learning, I kept hearing about gaps. I'm like, gap from what price? Like, what are you talking about?
I like
Thank
to
you
think
for.
of gaps as like from an auction like theory is like there's a price that people haven't been able to compete around, right? So we don't really know what the the fair amount of transactions at that those set of prices are, right? So like it makes sense, and that's why sometimes you don't spend a lot of time in the gap, right? You'll come back, test the gap, and then you just rip away because the market's like, we don't really care about those prices, it turns out. Or a lot of gaps will do like a 50% retest. It's pretty common. They'll come test 50% of the gap, and then it'll keep running. But yeah, that's how I like to think about it. It's like there's some set of prices that like buyers and sellers haven't had the opportunity to discuss. They got to go discuss them.
So, with market auction theory, Forrest, is the idea that the market is like an auction and the market will auction higher and lower it's like an advertisement of price. And then when people are interested, they'll like buy a lot or they'll sell a lot. Is that the idea?
I wouldn't describe it like that. I would say it is an auction, and like buyers want a good price and sellers, like every side of the transaction wants a good price, right? And then the movements in the charts are based off of people's positioning, and then also which side of the competition is more fierce, right?
It's
So
basically like the market isn't an algorithm; it is an auction. So
yeah, it is
that's
an
the
auction.
very, very
Like,
basis of it.
as buyers, if the buy side competition, like if the competition between buyers is bigger than the competition between sellers, price goes up. Then the inverse as well. But I don't really see it as buyers versus sellers. It's really buyers versus buyers, sellers versus sellers.
Mhm.
That's how an auction works, right? If I'm trying to sell something, I'm competing with other sellers. I'm not competing with my customer necessarily, right? The price, I lower my price, and then another seller lowers his price, and then I lower my price until we run out of competition, right? So that's how I think about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like how eager people are. How eager are people to get out of their positions or how eager they are to like buy everything up.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Barbie, do you want to share your chart of the day? I'm just noticing the time.
Yeah, I just wanted to notice, like, there's still people saying, like, no, the market is an algorithm. It's all run by. There's not a algorithm, y'all. I just want to be really, really clear on
It's
this.
dramatically stupid to think that. Like
There's people all over the place. Some of them are running algorithms. I do. Forrest probably does too. We even interactive brokers. When I place an options trade, I can select to have it run through an algo to get me the very best fill.
Yeah.
It's not the entire market is an algo. It's there are algos running because we're using computers to trade, but somebody's pushing that button and somebody programmed that. It's not the Matrix where like some computer has come up with this all by itself. Let's
Right.
be really clear about that. There's real people doing this.
If you ever worked at a large corporation, you understand how impossible it would be for the entire world to agree on it. Like
Yeah.
the amount of compute required is impossible. And then, as you just stated perfectly, Barbie, there are algorithms. An algorithm is just a piece of code that some idiot wrote. Like the fact that it's automated.
I wrote it, so they're definitely written by idiots.
No, smart.
People say this bank has an algo. It's like, okay, well, banks go out of business, dude. Like, there's just dummies working over there 9 to 5 too. Like, it's not magic.
Anyway,
that's why companies go bust. That's why Lehman Brothers blew up. That's why all these banks.
so I'm the algo.
You're
the algo. We're all the algo.
Lots of people behind the algos is what you guys are saying.
Do y'all want to start? Y'all want a chart of the day?
Yes. Show us your chart of the day.
This one I almost brought up every single day, but there's just been a lot going on this week. So chart of the day, let's talk about it. United Healthcare. A little ugly right now. So last week we were in the 600s, which is kind of crazy. And right now we're at 277. So let's talk about it. Obviously, we know the big drama with the shooter, but that's not what we're really focused on this week. Of course, that's contributed to all of this. But so on Monday, where are we? Here's this week. Wednesday, Tuesday. Here's Monday right here. We were really flat and normal. This is an hourly chart. We had reports come out that United Healthcare was going to be under additional scrutiny from regulators. And I guess there's some Medicare Advantage reimbursement issues that are causing a lot of rising costs and things. So then we moved down Tuesday. That was that news, is that there's a lot of issues going on. So Tuesday was relatively quiet, but then on Wednesday, we had more news come out that, and Reuters broke this, the U.S. Department of Justice is launching a criminal investigation over the Medicare. There was some fraud with that Medicare Advantage, and it's caused a lot of issues. So there we go, another gap down. So that's a major sell-off. During all of this drama, the CEO, Andrew Whitty, has resigned. He's gone. So they lost their CEO while they're having all of this Medicare fraud stuff going on. So then on Thursday, yesterday, United Healthcare is saying that they're not even going to have a 2025 financial outlook at this point. They're saying that they've got higher than unexpected costs. There's all of this legal uncertainty. They've got ongoing investigations. They are potentially going to have some antitrust probes. So here's the stock. It got under 250, all the way down from over 600. I know a lot of people made a lot of money on puts. Anyone who was holding puts did really, really well. But let's talk about what could come next. So I like to look at it as probabilities. And so we've kind of got the short-term probability, the midterm probability, and the long-term probability. When you have a complete disaster like this, where a stock has lost more than half of its value in a few days. So the short-term idea is a little dead cat bounce, and we are kind of getting that. So that's when we're just oversold, and it's like, well, there's definitely all this panic to get out, but how much of that panic was an overreaction? So in the short term, we can kind of look for a little dead cat bounce. This happens a lot. When the farther something has plummeted, the more likely it is to kind of get this little dead cat bounce. I think it's about half. When I was looking it up, it kind of depends. There's about 50% chance that you'll end up getting that when we're in these extreme oversold conditions. In the midterm, though, this isn't really something I want to mess with. I want to kind of wait and see what's going to happen. Is this dead cat bounce going to just dead cat and fall back down? Or are we going to start to see some actual recovery? I think healthcare is a little bit tricky right now with all of the RFK stuff going on too. We're not in a real healthcare friendly environment. So midterm, this is a little bit more tricky. But if it's something that you believe in, the long term, so I mean like a year or at least 6 months, there is some potential for this to at least be making some sort of sympathetic rebound up here as kind of a buy and hold. So let me know what y'all think about United Healthcare. This has definitely been where some drama has been this week. Are there any long-term holders, or even better, were there any put holders who have had a wonderful week?
Thank you. Thank you, Barbie, for sharing that with us. What do you guys think about doing another giveaway before our special guest comes on?
Run it.
I love giveaways.
Yeah? Do you think, chat, do you guys want the giveaway too? If you do, type in 1. Type in 1 and make sure you subscribe and like. It looks like we have, is my number right? It looks like we have 216. Oh, I see a lot of ones.
Ooh.
Is that right, you guys? We only have 215 likes? Is that right?
Gotta get those numbers up.
We gotta get, we gotta get that number up. Let's get that number. Oh, yeah, let's get it up. To what number are you guys thinking? Do we need to get the likes up to?
What do you think, chat? How many of you are here? We've got all of you are here, but you just need to like it. I mean, we should be able to get this up to 500 at least.
I see.
Am I pushing it too hard?
500. Yeah, all right, we're up to 302. Let's go, you guys. 319. I know. I want to give you guys this giveaway. Let's do it before the guest comes.
Some of the people in chat are killing my brain cells. I'm gonna let y'all.
I think they're killing their own brain cells too, though. So
comment. I have to. I have to address this. So it said, yeah, a lot of contradictions. How are gaps revisited and filled if there is an auction, right? How is it that price goes to places that are untested when there's a bunch of people trying to find the best set of prices and competing to do so? That makes
It's
sense.
eBay. We all want to get the best deal on NASDAQ or ES.
Oh, God.
And there might be one, if we skipped over a price, I want to put my order right there and see if I can still get that price. Nobody got that price overnight. I want to see if I can get that price.
I used to think anybody could do this, but I'm convinced that maybe.
Turtle traders say anybody who will actually put in the work can do this. So if you study the turtle traders, if you put in the work, you can do this. If you put up a wall and say, I'm not going to do the work because there's an algo and it's impossible, you're not going to do it.
That's crazy. I encourage y'all to go watch some of the streams back, front to back. But
right.
It's neither here nor there, or anywhere at all.
So it looks like we're up to 372. Let's get it to 400, you guys. This giveaway is a good one. It's free accounts. I think you guys want.
Terry's trying to help y'all out.
Yes, it's free accounts. It's 50 expert accounts, and those are like a little spendy compared to the starter ones. Like, I want an expert account. All right, we're up to 377. Let's get it to 400, you guys. We have 640 people watching. We're almost there. Almost there. 391. We need 9 more. Let's do it. Get ready, you guys. Like, subscribe. All right, 4 more. 4 more. 3 more. We're close. Almost there. Are we at over 400 likes? Yes. All right, guys, let's do it. So let's do 50 free expert accounts. Let's drop the code. Breakout live. Hurry. Breakout live. 50 accounts. Let us know in chat if you caught one.
These are expert accounts, right?
Yes, 50 expert accounts, which, by the way, I just have to make a quick correction. I said earlier that the expert promotion, 30% off, ends today. It actually ends on Sunday evening. Yes, and the code is YouTube if you want 30% off. And what's so great about the expert plan is that you can take out a lot of money, right? Like
25,000 worth, yeah.
Yeah, compared to like the starter account, which is great. I love the starter account because of the Forrest daily loss limits. It's definitely kept me out of trouble. Okay, did we get anyone who caught the code?
Chat's moving super fast. What we got? Got a bunch of people who weren't fast enough, it looks like.
They said it was for resets.
Says for resets.
We'll figure it out, y'all.
Yeah.
We're trying to hook y'all up.
Yes. Don't worry. Hang in there with us. If that's the case, we'll figure it out. All right. So
we'll look into it, y'all. We'll look into it. We'll let you know.
Yeah. Let's look at the charts. We have about a few minutes before our special guest comes on. What are you thinking with the market right now, Barbie? Because it's about 30 minutes into market open.
Yeah, and I did end up taking just a quick little scalp. I did buy that level. I have already taken it off. That was the quickest little thing. But I was also so why don't we talk a little bit, since the market is kind of slow, we can talk about I wanted to talk about the market rhythms a little bit. And by the way, I see y'all like talking about me hating on ICT. I did not mention ICT. If y'all think I'm hating on ICT, like that's actually your own issue right now, by the way.
Wait, didn't you call me this morning and say I hate ICT?
This is so crazy. I made one video calling someone out on BS, and I'm a hater now.
That's
the
crazy.
guy came to my channel hating on, like, he put a bot on my channel to comment, and I'm the hater. Anyway, nobody said anything about it. Anyway, let's talk about something useful. I wanted to kind of, we brushed on this earlier, but the market kind of moves in waves, and while we're checking on the code. So while we're looking at the code, I have the little mo roll down here on my charts because it kind of helps me look at the rhythms of the market. There are all of these different rhythms kind of going on at once. So this is kind of that, this is kind of that buy and sell, ebb and flow. But there's a lot of different kind of rhythms that we talk about too. And I know that, we both Forrest and I have talked a lot about how we kind of plan our trades based on times day a little bit. And this is kind of another one of the rhythms that we're talking about, is the different open and close cycles. And that's why Fridays end up a little bit different for me. And we've talked about this, but I wanted to show it just a little bit more. I thought this was a really good kind of chart that shows it. So the market, the market follows a lot of patterns and rhythms just because we're kind of doing the same thing every day. And we're looking for the same spikes and key levels every day. And we're kind of executing it all a lot on the same day. So the reason that a lot of us like that first 30 minutes of the New York opening session is because we can get that opening range that really sets the tone. And then we also have a lot of volume, and we can tell if the price is going to stay inside of that opening range in the morning, or if it's going to break out, kind of what the mode is. And we can do that because of these natural rhythms in the market. We know that when the New York session opens around here, that there's going to be a lot of orders placed. Like Terry was talking about, we have all these different the institutions have different plans that they're executing every day, and that's all happening in this New York open time. And part of the reason that works so well is we still have the London session going. And by the way, this chart is in Central Time, so if you're thinking in Eastern Time, you'll have to add an hour to it. But when we have these overlaps, they end up being really, really great times to get that momentum going in the market. And so this is another kind of way of looking at the rhythm in the market. So when Europe closes, we just talked about the open. We talk about the open all the time since that's kind of the time frame we cover. But when Europe closes over here too, it's 10:30 my time, 11:30 in New York time. That's another time when that first kind of mode that we've been in, whether it's chop or trend from the opening range, can shift. And so that's a time of day when the green group here, the London group, is leaving. And so whatever kind of objective they were after, whether it was getting price higher or lower, is done. And it's just up to us purple guys down here to get that finished. But then overnight, we have the same kind of cycles where after we open, my mouse isn't working right now. Hang on. After we open for the Globex session, then we have another little overlap between when really kind of everyone on the other side of the earth opens. So a lot of people will trade this kind of open when Australia is opening, but then a lot of people will join later when the Asian sessions open as well. So it's always kind of this nice little cycle. You can look at cycles in ebbs and flows in your volume. You can look at cycles in ebbs and flow in price action, where we're just making these little natural cycles. And you can look at the market in the cycles of time as well. And so when you start kind of putting all of these things together, that's when you narrow in on your little playbook plays with the time of day and the list of plays that you can kind of take inside of those. So when you kind of have a perspective like this, some sort of context to look at the market using rhythms or whatever else you're using, you have something to base your preparation on, and then you can track your outcomes. And that's where you get all of the confidence and where you really grow your trading plan and all of that. So using market rhythms, time, however you use it, will really help you kind of come up with that really solid trading plan.
Thank you, Barbie. So we are working on those expert plans, you guys. It was a miscommunication. It happens. But don't worry, it is coming. So while we're waiting for it to get worked out, I'm going to introduce our wonderful, amazing guest, a live trader with MyFundedFutures, Giffy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yo.
There he is.
Hello, guys.
Welcome.
So, man.
Good morning.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
morning. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Is it
It's
Giffy?
fine. It's Giffy. Yeah.
Giffy. Okay. We couldn't decide earlier. We were debating.
So tell us about your journey. Like, how long have you been trading?
So I started trading in high school. Like it was 2017. I've been trading for like roughly 6, 7 years. I started with options, and then I started with futures. So I lost a lot of money with the Robinhood. I'm not sure if like a lot of people went through the same journey as me. I blew a lot of money on that, like maybe 4 or 5K. And then once I became 18, I started with futures, and then first like 4 or 5 months, I made like 40K. And then when I turned 19, I started trading with MyFundedFutures. I made roughly like 30 to 40K. And then when I turned 20, I became a live trader for MyFundedFutures.
That is absolutely amazing.
Appreciate it.
So I
So,
heard you're one of our OGs.
I assume so.
Congrats on that.
so you
Appreciate
started
it.
trading in high school. Like, how did you get exposed to trading? How did you get into it?
I'm not sure if you guys heard of TJR. He's the one that got me into it.
Okay,
I haven't heard
is
of
it
it.
someone
I'm
on
not
YouTube?
familiar.
Yeah,
You
I'm
guys
not
don't know who TJR is?
sure.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's who got me exposed into trading.
And then did you just like throw yourself in? Were you just obsessed about it, or like what was that experience like?
I knew I wanted to do something different. I wasn't really like a high school like I got good grades and everything. I passed, graduated, everything. I went to college too. I did it for like a year. I didn't really like it, so I was like, yeah, I want to be different. I want to, I want to
Mhm.
do this.
You just knew that like having a desk job or corporate job wasn't your thing.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Tell us more about what you love about being a live trader.
The daily payouts for sure. You get to utilize the daily. Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah.
What's
Like,
your goal in like 5 years? Are you trying to make like 10 million bucks? Are you trying to trade and
Trying.
stop? What do you think?
I'm definitely gonna be continuing my trading journey, but I'm not sure yet. Honestly, I want to keep doing what I'm doing right now. Maybe still be with my funding futures as a live trader. That's my goal long term. Focus on consistency.
There you go.
yeah, consistency seems key. Like making a ton of money one month and then the next month like losing all of it plus more.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah. This month was brutal. I'm not gonna lie. April
yeah,
was a pretty pretty odd month.
tough month. So tell me about your adjustment from trading like in the sim funded to live. What was that experience like?
I definitely had to like de-risk for sure because before I was able to slap on one mini. Now it's like a struggle to like slap on one mini.
Mhm.
I usually trade like 1 micro to 7 to 8 micros depending on my setup. But yeah, for sure, I can't slap on one mini anymore.
So even in the sim funded, from sim funded going to live, you also de-risked?
Correct.
And then in eval, did you like going when you were in the eval stage and then going to sim funded, did you also de-risk then too? Or was that about the same?
No, on the evals, I was a little like more risky, and then when I went to sim, I was maybe slapping like 1 to 3 contracts.
Okay. That's helpful. It's helpful to know. Like how I think in my mind, I'm guessing that you guys are kind of wondering too, like, how do we get there? How do we get to the live stage, right? Like Giffy, I think a lot of people watching right now, they're wondering, how do I get there? Yeah, if you can share with us like some helpful tips on going trading the eval and then also trading the funded account and then getting to live, like that would be awesome.
Yeah, so I unfortunately blew a lot of accounts, and then I got to a point where I was like, "What am I doing? You know, this is not what I want to do with my life."
Mhm.
And then I started to focus on consistency on my sim funded. to get to live. I was lucky enough to get moved early to live because Matt, he moved me early to the live account. It's a nice moment. Appreciate him. Thank him for that. And yeah, it's just you need to de-risk like a lot heavily if you want to focus on those daily payouts. You got to focus on consistency for sure and focus on long term. Can't come into the market. Oh, I'm gonna make this amount of money. You know, gotta just follow your rules.
De-risking, following your rules, consistency.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your kind of like go-to if you had to just describe your A setup? Like what's an A setup in your playbook, or just in general?
So I trade the ICT concepts and then I use Bookmap to also validate my trades. So I look for CISD and then a retest and then a liquidity sweep.
What is CISD?
If I can share my screen, I can show you guys.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. If you go to the, there should be at the bottom of your screen a share tab, like present.
Gotcha.
Hook the people up with some knowledge.
Yes, I love charts. It's so helpful to actually visually see like what people are talking about.
All right. Share my screen. All right. So if I were to go back yesterday, this is what I mapped to confirm it. So I look for basically like a sweep right here. Sweep this high, we change, and then we retest this fair value gap right here. And then I would have my stop above this high, and then I would use my book map, which is this, to confirm my trade and see where the market's going.
Nice. What are you looking for? Are you using on Bookmap specifically?
I just look at the bids and the volume. I see how much volume's going in, bids are going in, and then if the green bubbles and red bubbles are large, then I know I'm in the right direction.
Gotcha. And what time frame do you trade?
I trade the 15-minute and 1 minute.
Oh, the lower. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried trading higher time frames, or what do you like about that time frame?
I use the higher time frames for like these big gaps right here, and maybe like these lows.
That's really interesting. Did you start with those time frames when you first started to trade, or like did it change over time?
It changed over time for sure. I was always strictly on the 1 minute, and then I found myself losing a lot, so I switched to the higher time frame.
That seems to be a theme I'm picking up, that lots of people kind of switch to the higher time frames to succeed.
Correct.
Yeah. So if I am a brand new trader, what would you share with me? If I'm like brand new and I want to be uber successful and make a ton of money really quick.
I don't know about ton of money real quick, but definitely start off with paper trading for sure.
Okay.
Then go to start an eval, try it out. You're gonna blow it eventually, so I would recommend setting aside maybe like $200. Blow the first account, you know, get used to it, and then journal what you did wrong, and then try another eval, and then try to pass it. And most likely you're gonna blow another. So once you pass the eval, the sim funded, learn from that, journal it, and then try another eval, and then apply those rules and whatever you journaled.
Yeah, like so paper trade first and
Correct.
then trade evals and kind of expect that you're going to lose some evals is what I heard you say. And then journal, make sure you're learning along the way, like what your mistakes were. And so you can improve. So I heard you say that you lost some money when you were first learning. Was that in a live account?
I'm
Like
sorry,
your
repeat
own
the question.
personal account? Oh, I heard you say when I was asking about your like background, how you got into trading. I think you said you lost like 4 or 5,000 or something
Yeah, it
from.
was on Robinhood. It was options trading, and I did also try a personal account, but I
Mhm.
kind of lost the money because I wasn't really like. This was like a while ago too, so I put like 1,000 in a personal like Tradeovate account when I turned 18. Tried that out, kind of blew all the money because I didn't really know what I was doing, and then the
Mhm.
options account I blew like 4 or 5K.
Yeah, and so like would you say for someone new, like don't trade your own personal account, like it's better to trade props, or like what's your take on it?
I honestly say it depends on your risk. I personally, if I would go back, I'd do prop firms.
Mhm. Yeah, same. I lost money when I first was learning, and I traded on paper for a little bit of time, and then I just jumped right into my personal account because at the time all these people on YouTube, they're like, if you trade your paper account is not going to be at all like a real account, which is true, but like who wants to lose a ton of money? It
Yeah,
sucks.
correct, for
I
sure.
love
Yeah.
losing. No, I'm kidding. I actually have the opposite opinion. I do think, and guys, I love MyFundedFutures. I'm literally all over their channel. I do think it's good to start with your own account just because of the transition that has to happen. Like when there's certain trading styles you can only do with a live account anyways. Even if you trade well with MyFundedFutures, you're gonna get moved to live anyways.
Mhm.
And so having that mindset of being able to zoom out, which I'm always saying is helpful because your biggest trades as a trader, I don't know what your biggest trade is, but your biggest trades as a trader are always going to be holding something longer, right? You can only get so much juice out of a session. So eventually your hold times will get bigger and bigger, your leverage will get bigger and bigger, and your P&L will get bigger and bigger. And you can't do that, inside of a trade typically, right? So that's just my 2 cents on that. I think and I saw someone in chat say like sim trading isn't useful. It's
I
immensely useful,
disagree with that too.
especially if you have,
I still sim trade. So
yeah, there's no
you
reason not
always,
to.
yeah, especially anytime you have a new strategy or you want to try something new or try new sizing, it's always good to go sim it. Always.
Mhm.
And I don't think that you have to decide like I'm only going to trade prop firms. That's just with the technology that we have with all of the account copying and everything, we don't have to decide. So you can figure out what's right for you and then kind of add. The sweet spot for me is trading my own account and then using prop firms for additional play money. That doesn't hurt anything. And I still think that there's a really good spot in paper trading, but I get what you're saying where if you get too comfortable in it, so you have to kind of you have to balance that a little bit. For me,
Yeah.
paper trading is a tool to test things, but it's not a tool to test my my trading psychology.
What's your, I forgot what I was even going to ask. Can't remember. I take it back.
You always have the best questions too.
There's something good.
Are you looking at a possible trade right now?
Honestly, if this low gets taken, I'm looking at Bookmap too. Looks like we're heading down there.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a lot of orders down here.
So when you're looking at Bookmap, it's so interesting to me. I've seen some people use Bookmap and it's super helpful for people. Are you looking at just like the orders, that massive orders that are sitting, or are you looking at like the bubbles?
I look at the massive orders and the bubbles. I just started using this, so I'm not like too like an expert on it. Like
Yeah.
I'm like a week in, so it's been helping my trading a little bit.
Okay. Can you pull up the Bookmap so we
Yes.
can see it again? Oh, yeah. And if you could point out what you were just telling us, that'd be great.
I love
So
this because we're not bookmap traders, so you can really help our chat understand how this works.
Yes.
I'm not the craziest expert, so I just started this too. So I'm looking at this level right down here, and then if you look at it on the chart, looks like we have a lot of orders rested here. That's what,
Mhm.
and then I feel like the market is gonna be going down there, taking those lows, taking those orders, and then hopefully pushing up to the these highs right here.
So the yellow lines, like where it's kind of highlighted, is
Like these.
that's showing like big orders.
Correct.
Interesting. So when you see that and then price moves to that area, are you like intensely watching to see what price does?
Correct.
After?
And then I use my trading model, and then I look for my CISD, my fair value gap, and liquidity sweep.
Okay. And what are you kind of looking at for like risk reward?
It's like a 2 to 1, usually 2 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say I got an entry right here. It'd be like roughly a 2 to 1.
Okay. And how do you deal with like if you have a losing trade? Not if, but when, because all traders, everyone has losing trades. It's just part of the game.
I personally, the big benefit with the live account is you have a risk team, so they will adjust your DLL. So I have a set DLL. It's like 600, and then like when I had a very losing streak, I had it at like 400, and that's the big benefit of a live account. You have a risk team behind you. They will, help you out, adjust your trading style, lower your contract sizing, all that. That's another benefit with the risk team. So that's like my way of managing risk is with the risk team. So I only trade with MyFundedFutures right now. No other prop firms, no personal account. So I'm like fully locked in on my MyFundedFutures account.
That's
you really
so
like the risk team
They are
then.
funding your future. That's crazy. I love
So I like to shout out Spidey, which is Hamza, and then I also got it's I believe Felix. So those two are the ones that are always helping me out.
from the risk team.
Yes.
Shout out to the risk team. It sounds like such an amazing perk of being live, like to have that risk team that you're working with. Because like the thing with setting our own limits is that we can go in and change them if we want. But with the risk team, it's just like locked. You have no choice.
Correct.
I love that.
And then also another, if you use Tradeovate, you know how they don't have a lockout feature? Well, they can lock your account. You can lock in your gains for the day. That's another benefit with the MyFundedFutures.
That's awesome. So tell me more about why you've chosen MyFundedFutures as your exclusive prop firm.
Honestly, the biggest reason was the no activation fees. For sure, that no activation fees.
No,
I don't think everyone like really sits. I keep telling everybody that because they keep telling me another account's cheaper, and it's like, but did you do the math on it? Because it's not though.
Exactly.
Pay for what you get in life, guys. Cheaper. I mean, obviously, we want props to be cheaper. It'd be great if the prop account was $1, right? But it's not.
I hate that email you get. It's like, congratulations, send us $150 or $200 or whatever it is. Like,
yeah,
what?
there's a reason why, and I get reached out to, and I'm sure it's the same for you, Barbie. Like I get reached out by every firm that exists, guys, and I say,
yep,
literally every day. I'm like,
I turn down a lot of dogs.
So yeah, MyFundedFutures is literally, obviously we're biased, but it is the best prop firm, right?
And end of day drawdowns in across the board. It's not the intraday stuff, which can be difficult. Yes.
Well,
Also,
intraday is just not realistic in trading either. That's not how real accounts work.
Not at all.
Yeah.
My style, by the way, wouldn't work. You know how I say I like to put on a trade and walk away? Intraday trailing is kind of, unless you could trade super low leverage to where it basically doesn't matter, right? That's what you should do anyways. But yeah, like I can't walk away because on my trades like that I hold for hours could be up 150 points, come back down to 1 point profit, and then end the trade like up 300 points. You know what I mean? But it'll take like 5 hours. And if I have to watch my trailing, whatever the heck that is, half my trades would blow up. So
yeah, it doesn't work with like the longer hold styles, or if it does work, you have to like babysit it.
Yeah, I use the trailing on my scalps when I want to get out fast. I either want a win or to get out fast. But you have to have a lot of trust in your trades to let them sit for hours. So
Mhm.
I mean, that took some developing, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was more a result of asking myself hard questions because I scalp sometimes. Like sometimes I'll go to the lowers and I'll do like I know it's not degen trading, but I call it that. Like I'm just I'm locked into the matrix, right? I've put like thousands of hours of chart time in at this point, I feel like. But then I asked the question, like, what actually makes me more money? And when I looked at my log and I was like, this day I took 30 trades and I made $1,200. And then this day I took one trade and I made $4,000. You know, it's just like,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that and not do anything else. So
way less stress too, it seems. Yeah. Giffy, like, how did you learn to hold trades for a long time?
I'm like more of I like to be in and out of the market type of guy. I don't like to hold throughout the day. Like to enjoy the rest of my day, but I say the best way to hold is if you trail your stop loss. That's my personal way of doing it.
It's the opposite of Forrest.
So
I
you'll
usually don't
move.
stop at all. Like I'll trail. My rule is I trail once I hit 70% of the EV on a trade. So I'll lock in EV being expected value. So once I cross like 70% ish, I'll trail. But even then, like I'm more interested to see if my trade will play out than anything else.
And so Giffy, when do you start to trail?
When we take any kind of like internal high, usually I wait for the external because market tends to in this market environment right now, I see it tend to like come back more often than not. Like for example, like yesterday we come in, like you could be targeting like some kind of high, we come back, go up again, and then yeah.
So it sounds like there's some discretion with like how you decide to trail.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Giffy, about doing another giveaway for chat and everyone
Let's see chat.
listening? What's
Looks like
that?
they're ready. It looks like they're ready. Everyone's asking for a reset right now.
Reset giveaway. What do you guys think, Forrest, Barbie?
You know, I'm for the people.
For the people, Forrest?
Do it.
Do it. All right, let's do the giveaway for 50 resets. You guys get ready. We're going to drop the code soon. Give you some time. Make sure you like, subscribe. All right, let's drop the code. Friday push, 50 free resets. And if you got it, let us know in chat.
I think that Fabio dropped the accounts to those of y'all who are paying attention.
Yeah, Fabio did drop the expert accounts. I know. For anyone that was listening that wasn't in chat, but I think that means participating in chat is helpful.
It is. You never know. You never know. We're rewarding everybody everywhere.
Yes, and definitely every day there's been giveaways, which is amazing and awesome.
And we have I know that they're going to give y'all more next week too, so.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. And it's just fun to talk to other traders and hear and strategies and learn like all the different ways that people make money from the markets. It's fascinating to me. Let's ask chat if any questions for Giffy. We have a few minutes left. Do you guys have some questions? I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
What is one thing that you bought for yourself once you started to make money?
A car for sure.
A car?
Yes.
Awesome. That's awesome. What was that like?
I've never had a car growing up. I always begged my parents to give me a car. So when I got my own car, I felt like freedom.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's something you've always wanted.
Yes, correct. Throughout high school, because I would see my friends going out for high school, going out to eat, and then I was just stuck there in the lunchroom, and I couldn't
Oh no.
do anything.
My boy was locked down. He was fueled. He said, I want to go outside. Get
That
these
must have
pips.
felt so sweet,
Yeah.
especially when, like, at your age too, Giffy. Like, I can't even imagine, being so successful at a younger age. That's absolutely amazing. So do you want to share with everyone your, like, how people can stay in touch with you? Are you on, like, any social media?
Drop the socials.
So I'm always in the MyFundedFutures Discord, always active, and they're always talking with everyone. So that's like the best place to reach me. I also have a TikTok page, same username, and then I also have a Twitter page, same username. So I'm active on all of them. You guys can always hit me up in the Discord, but that's like the best place to hit me up.
Okay, I'm sorry. I missed your username.
It's Giffy.
Giffy, just
Yes.
at Giffy.
Keeping it simple.
Yeah.
Everything's Giffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is my Discord username with 4 Fs.
4 Fs. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, Giffy with 4 Fs.
Yeah. There you go.
On Discord and on MyFundedFutures Discord. Yeah, any last minute thoughts, what you would like to share with everyone listening?
I know everyone's really interested in your mindset as a younger trader too.
I would recommend that everyone uses prop money for long-term, like invest it into something. Don't just go and blow it and spend it on. That's my mistake I made when I first turned 18. When I got my big prop money, I blew it on like dumb stuff. Okay, so I'd recommend everyone invest it into like some stocks, retirement accounts, all that.
Mhm.
I love that. Thinking big picture, basically.
Because this money comes and goes, so you gotta be wise with it.
Yeah, that's like with like a lot of professional athletes end up spending all of their money.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Forrest, last minute thoughts for everyone?
Per usual, guys, hit you with the big rocks. Think about the trader you want to be. Ask yourself what would that person do, and then do those things. And have a good weekend.
Any fun plans this weekend?
I'm in Miami, so
Perma fun.
Is that like every day?
Yeah.
I have to tell you guys a funny story. So I live in the Midwest, and like in the Midwest, I'd say we're a little more conservative in dress, right? Like, and my very first time to South Beach, Florida, I wore like this top where it was like off the shoulders, and then it was cropped, right? It was like a crop top, and I had on these slacks. And when I showed up at South Beach, and I'm thinking in my mind that I'm dressed appropriately for South Beach. You guys, when I got there, everyone was in thongs. I felt like I stuck out like a sore thumb because I felt like I was wearing so much clothes compared to everyone else. And then I realized everyone knew I was a tourist because I wasn't like, my attire wasn't matching everyone else's attire. So it is a big party in Miami.
Well, now you got Forrest to run everything by. Like, what's the vibe? I got to get this right this time.
Yes, we'll have to go visit you sometime, Forrest, in Miami.
That would be awesome if we both managed to come get you at the same time. We'll invade.
Yes, actually, we should. If you guys ever want to do a pod or something in person, come to the studio right here in Wynwood, Miami. If anyone's been.
Yes, we'll have to put something together. That would be so fun, super fun. Barbie, last minute thoughts?
Well, I'll get that little teeny tiny swimming suit ready for Miami.
I got mine on right now.
You're gonna have to go shopping.
Yeah, we're still working. I'm looking at ES a little bit too, believe it or not, and it is still trying to do that little walk up maneuver. It's kind of doing exactly what I was looking at, kind of dipping into this zone down here and then starting a walk up. So I did get a little tiny piece of that, but I might just go fry it after this a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Good day to not lose your behind in the market. That's the way I look at Fridays.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like the market is just barcoding. It has been.
Yeah, now it is.
A good day to kind of stay hands Hands, sit on our hands. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Giffy, for coming and for sharing your knowledge with us and also your journey. And as a live trader, like, it's huge. Congratulations on all of your success.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. It's like you did it, so we can too. Thank you.
Everyone can do it. Just gotta
Yeah, we can
focus on
all
the
do it.
psychology. Everyone can do it.
Just, would you say, like, persistent, like, just don't give up?
Yeah, don't give up. So
Okay.
it takes time.
Takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen like in
Correct.
1 month or 6 months. Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, Forrest and Barbie and Giffy. And I'm going to introduce our trader, Ash. So Ash is going to share trading with you guys. All right. Hey, Ash.
Hey, good morning. How are we doing today?
Good morning. Good. How are you?
Doing good. Happy it's Friday.
Happy Friday.
Last session of the week, and then we get the weekend.
How is it going for you so far this morning?
No trades yet so far for me this morning. It's not very clear. I'm also green on the week, so I'm more in the mindset of staying green on the week. I don't really want to force myself upon the market, so I'm leaning on the side of patience this morning.
Okay. Yeah, we were just discussing that like what we're seeing right now, everyone's kind of like hands off, kind of patient. And it's Friday. For some reason, Fridays can be like this. I'm not sure why.
That's what it comes down to. It's, if you're green on the week, are you really willing to go into the weekend changing your entire mindset by turning that around and being red? So
yeah, that sucks. There's nothing worse than like losing the entire week if you were green and then having to sit with that feeling over the weekend.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I will let you take it away, and it's good to see you. We'll see you soon. Bye, guys.
Good.
See
Have
you
a nice
next week.
day. Good morning or good day, depending on where you're from. How's everybody doing today? How's chat's day going so far? Let's take a look. Let's see how everybody's doing. Throw a 1 in the chat if you're green on the week. Throw a 2 in the chat if you're red on the week. And throw a 3 in the chat if you've yet to trade this week. See where everybody stands going into the last day of the week. Bunch of 1s. Bunch of 2s as well. So it looks pretty 50-50 so far. Couple 3s. Good morning or good day to the individuals saying good morning. Excited to be back here with you guys. Get another session in. Looks like price is reaching lower this morning. I am taking a look at London lows and Asia lows for this morning. Take a look here. So, take some time to go over some analysis, and then we can spend the time doing a question and answer type of session. As you guys just heard me communicating with Terry, I'm leaning on the side of being patient. For all the individuals in chat that just said that they were green on the week, I have one question for you all. It simply boils down to this. If you're green on the week, are you willing to risk what you've worked for throughout the week? Because in my opinion, it does sound a bit greedy to need more, right? To push the button and force yourself upon the market. Instead, accepting what you've already accomplished and knowing that that's enough. I say it all the time throughout my communities, and you'll hear me say this many times here. Less is more, quality over quantity. Okay, so In my opinion, there's a lot of times in this business that are spent doing nothing. And this would be one of those scenarios. So throughout the week, we could do a quick little recap as well. Monday, you guys saw my executions. Monday was the trade that I took. We did a trade review after those executions were completed. From there, I've been on the sidelines. It is quite simple. Less is more, quality over quantity. Okay, so as an independent thinker, as a risk manager, ask yourself that. You know, if you're green and that feels good, do you want to ruin that? Do you want to ruin that hard work? Do you want to ruin that feeling? Quality over quantity. So this is what I'm looking at for targets. Let's get into a little bit of analysis to take a look. Just because we're not executing doesn't mean we can't gain some more conviction. In my opinion, just like professional athletes, it doesn't matter whether there's a game or not that day. They're still going to show up and gain more experience. They're still going to practice. You don't have to risk anything to practice, but you can still show up, gain that experience, and that's where the conviction comes from. Conviction is built through experience. So whether you're going to risk or not, I still think it's important to show up and complete your routine, because that's what builds the muscle memory. We have to show up and complete the justifications to our actions daily. Okay, so I'm looking for London low here, Asia low to be the target. But let's get through some information. Let's get through a game plan. For me, I'm always getting my bias from the daily chart. And this is the first thing that sticks out to me, right? We've talked about divergences for quite some time. It's almost each time that we're getting on here and getting an analysis done. And this is the first thing that sticks out to me. Take a look at NQ. Notice how NQ failed to take out previous day high. Okay. Then take a look at ES. Notice how ES took out previous day high. Okay, so this is important in terms of the context. Take a look at what we did on the week. Pretty directional week, right? Pretty directional week. Huge gap to open the week, right? Very directional, right off the open. Instantly started moving higher. All of Monday, pushing higher. All of Tuesday, pushing higher. A bit of consolidation Wednesday. And then continuation on Thursday. Now, this is lovely. Yes, the long-term positions are heavily enjoying this. So that portion of the conversation is great. But, reality is things don't move in one line, right? We're not just going to, it's not going to be one straight move all the way back to all-time highs. Okay, if price was that generous, then a lot more people would participate. Okay, but a lot of the time price spends in consolidation. Okay, there's a lot of price fluctuations. So with that being said, seeing that the directional move on the week was from the open until Thursday, is another reason why I'm looking at this divergence, this crack in correlation. In my opinion, the momentum might need a break, right? We might need to just take a second. The bulls might need to recollect themselves, recharge the battery to continue doing what they're doing. We've had a beautiful move on the week. Now we're getting a crack in correlation at the highs. And I don't expect something to move in one direction. There will be many price fluctuations. Okay, so the divergence itself is showing that NQ is the weaker pair. You can see because NQ did not take out previous day high, that shows that NQ is the weaker pair. If you want to take an easier way of looking at it, you can also take a look at the watch list. Notice how NQ is red on the day. Notice how ES is not. Okay, so in terms of strength or weakness, I would say NQ is the weaker pair. In terms of the direction of price, yes, we're moving higher. My long-term vision is still bullish. I do think we're still heading back to all-time highs. I'm simply just stating that price does not move in one direction. Okay. We had a beautiful move higher throughout the week. Now it just needs a halftime. We'll go grab some water, go grab some Gatorade, and we'll be right back to, the regular scheduled program after it takes a quick break. The thing that's saying that is the crack in correlation, right? The SMT. Okay, so for that reasoning, that's why I had the targets of London and Asia lows. Other than the fact that in terms of thinking about liquidity, let's get down to a lower time frame here. In terms of thinking about liquidity, and there's your first target there on NQ. Go figure NQ is the one to reach the target first compared to ES, right? Here's the London low on ES, right? Because of the SMT. Again, ES is showing to be the stronger pair, so it makes sense that NQ went to the low first. It was showing to be the weaker pair. Okay, so the next part of the conversation goes into liquidity, right? So seeing that Asia highs were taken out, seeing that London highs were taken out, it looks like price grabbed liquidity above the highs. And if there was something else to reach for, right, these session lows are the only thing that were left. The London low was never revisited ever since it was put in. The Asia low was never revisited since it was put in. Okay, so now you can get some logic to go behind the decision making. And today we didn't have to wait for it. We're instantly getting a result here, right? There's your first target now. Second target being Asia low. Okay, so we'll take the conversation one step further. We'll point out the SMT. Right, this was the SMT on the daily time frame here. And then you can take a look at change in the state of delivery, right? So after we put in the SMT, you get a strong candle closure below a change in the state of delivery. Market structure shift, change in the state of delivery, whatever you want to call it. The trend changed, right? Okay, so if you want to just do some trend analysis, you had a low, you had a higher low, you had a higher low, you had a higher low. Then we get a new low, right? So this is an uptrend, right? Here's an uptrend until this moment in time. Here's the break of the trend, and that's when we start heading lower. After we break the trend, we retest it, we get rejected, and then we start heading lower. And there's your second target there of the Asia lows. So quick morning on my end. We're only 13 minutes into the segment. That is just beautiful. Where I was going with the conversation was, you see the Kraken correlation first because NQ did not take out previous day high. ES did take out previous day high. So again, divergences act as a, hey, look, something might happen here. It's to grab your attention to say, something might happen here. To then put confluence with that, you can do the trend analysis of, we got a change in the state of delivery here. Then you could use this as your line in the sand, right? Your validation or invalidation. If the trend did in fact change, price should get rejected from this area. And look how beautifully it gets rejected. Right, huge wick here the first time we retest it. And then another large move lower. So I'm purposely going through this so that you can understand the logic that goes into the decision making while seeing the things within price that show that logic. Last portion to this is, when we get a change in trend, I want to see it done with displacement. Right? An FBG, an imbalance, again, whatever you want to call it, I really don't care. It doesn't matter what the terminology is. We're all looking at the same information. When you get a change in trend, I want to see that it's very energetic and decisive. Right? Look at this displacement here. Very clear displacement that made a new low, right? It changed the trend. And then again, it acts as resistance. And then we get another large move lower. So some logic to go with the decision making. And now it reached to the targets, right? So at this moment in time, if you're capable of creating a game plan and identifying a target, after seeing it complete its objective, once again, that would be a time to move to the sidelines. It's Friday. You really don't have to force yourself upon price. Whatever you completed this week, ensure that you keep that. Okay, so let me know what you all think. Were you guys bullish or bearish today? What were you looking for? That is the logic that goes into my decision making. I was happily on the sidelines because we reviewed the trade that I took on Monday. Caught about 49 points on an NQ long. I'm happy to be plus 49 points on the week. Along with that, if you guys want to throw any questions or comments in chat, we can also go over some information during my segment. Feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat as well. Ash, what is your most important confirmation to enter a trade? Time. Time is the most important element. All right, you want to be participating during the opening times. Asia Open, London Open, New York Open. Okay. Time is the most important element. We can go over my game plan as well. Right after this announcement, it looks like I might have some good news for everyone. Let's see. Yep. So looks like I was able to get a deal for you all. Looks like we will be able to get a new code. This code will be for 50% off Starter Plus accounts, all sizes. Okay, so we're going to do 100 uses of 50% off Starter Plus accounts of all sizes. Let me see what the code will be. Code is going on the screen now. The code is ASH Live 50. So it'll be for 50% off Starter Plus accounts, all account sizes. There's 100 uses. The code is ASH Live 50. We are trying to get as much value for the community as possible through all of the giveaways, all of the codes, all of the education, all of the trades that we're showing, all of the information and questions that we're going through. We are doing this daily, and we plan to continue to keep doing it. Again, code is ASH Live 50. So we could also go over the game plan, right? So the original question was, what is the most important confirmation I need to get into a trade? Okay. Here's my game plan. This is what I do every single day, every time I show up to the market. Time is the most important element, okay? Time is the most important element. I'm always looking to participate at the opening times. This is the most important element. Okay. You also have to get over onto the economic calendar. Make sure you understand when the high impact news drivers are. It's important to know because those are volatility injections. Price is going to start moving more than it did before when those news releases occur. Okay, so understanding operating at the opening times is important, and then being aware of the news drivers. Next is bias or draw on liquidity. To me, those two things mean the same thing. One of the best forms of draw on liquidity is equal highs or equal lows. Okay, so we want to see equal highs or equal lows to act as a draw on liquidity. Can you see why I was pointing to London lows as the target this morning? Take a look at these equal lows right here. Take a look at those equal lows right there. This is what draw on liquidity is, in my opinion. Okay, so lastly is an entry function. So last part of the game plan. And a lot of people have already seen the model that I use. The model that I use is the unicorn model. Unicorn model is simply a breaker block plus an FVG. Okay, so here's a breaker. This is a long position. Okay. A breaker will be a swing low, a swing high, a new low, then a new high. You need to have all 4 of those institutional swing points. Then you need to find the highest up close candle in between the initial swing low to the initial swing high, and that will be your breaker block. Once you can identify the breaker, then I want to see a FVG aligned with it. This is what I would consider the unicorn model. A breaker block plus an FVG. Okay, so in terms of what are the most important confirmations, I just quickly walked through all of them. I'm looking to participate at the opening times, New York Open. I'm on the East Coast of the US, so I choose New York Open. That is also when all of the news drivers occur. Okay, so time being the most important element, then draw and liquidity being the second. Equal highs or equal lows is what I would like to use for draw on liquidity. And then lastly, a breaker block plus an FEG to then engage with price. So, very good question. We can get back over to chat. Again, feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat. Everybody's saying that the code isn't working. The code is active, so there's 100 uses. The code is ASH-LIVE50. So here's the code again for anybody looking for that discount. The discount was 50% off starter plus accounts, all sizes. There is 100 uses of them. So you have to be one of the first 100. Okay. Okay, it looks like they did end up changing it. So chat was correct on that one. Thank you for the help, chat. The correct code is ASH-LIVE+. This one should be active now. Same exact code though, 50% off starter plus all account sizes. There's 100 uses of them. The code is also on the screen now. Chat was correct on that one. Very good job, chat. Ash, what is the time frame to identify your bias? So again, this is one of those moments in time where less is more, quality over quantity. A lot of people seem to get lost in information overload. Okay, so information overload could simply come from using too many time frames. So I'm not sitting here saying what is right or wrong. I'm sitting here saying what my experience is. I've chosen for myself one of the higher time frames, one of the medium time frames, and one of the lower time frames. I only use 3 different time frames to understand my analysis. The daily is where I get my bias. The daily is where I get my bias. The hourly is where I get my higher time frame points of interest. The 5-minute is where I get my entry functions. Okay, so very good question. Once again, I'll just restate this so everybody could hear me clearly. I'm not sitting here saying what is right or wrong. This is how I conduct my business. So if this works for you, great. If you choose to use a different time frame, great. What I think is most important is that you set specific time frames, that you know which time frames to analyze. Don't get lost in too many time frames, right? Don't try to analyze the 1 week chart, the 3-day chart, the 1-day chart, the 4-hour chart, the 2-hour chart, the 1-hour chart. That's just information overload. Less is more, quality over quantity. Just pick one of the higher time frames, one of the medium time frames, and one of the lower time frames. Don't get lost in the information overload. Okay, so the daily chart is my bias. The hourly chart is my higher time frame points of interest. And the 5-minute chart is my entry function. Very good question once again. Less is more, quality over quantity. That's the theme for today. Ash, what are some signs you look for to help you decide it's no trade day? Okay, so the first thing is risk management, right? So are you even willing, right? Are you in the right mental space? Are you in the right emotional space to be risking that day? Right? Like, are you too tired because you didn't get a good enough night of sleep? Are you hungry because you haven't had breakfast yet? Are you a little angry or frustrated because something happened throughout the day? Right? If you're not in the right headspace to be objective to price action, then I'm not even willing to risk. So first thing is knowing thyself. Let's say you are willing to risk, okay? If you're looking for a technical analysis type of way of determining whether you're willing to risk or not, then it's a matter of, am I capable of identifying my game plan, right? I have a set game plan. I have a set model that I follow. If I'm not capable of clearly identifying and defining that model, then I don't trade, right? So like if I'm on the daily chart and I can't determine a bias for whatever reason, the information's just not clear to me today. If I can't determine a bias, I'm not going to trade. Okay, so if you're looking for a technical analysis way to determine not to trade, it would be your game plan. All right, so for me this morning, I was able to clearly see the SMT at the highs, right? I pointed to this as we were going through the top-down analysis. Right? It was very clear that ES took out the previous day high, NQ did not. That's bearish SMT, along with the very directional move throughout the week. It looks like price needs to take a breather. That, to me, states that there's no clear direction today. Price is slowing down, right? This bullish momentum is slowing down a bit. We might need to consolidate a little bit before we continue further. Then you have the Kraken correlation. Those are things that help to create a bias. Okay. So if you can't clearly identify the information on the screen, then I would not trade. Last portion to that is your results on the week, right? So for example, I only average 1 to 2 trades on a week. Okay, so I took a trade on Monday, captured 49 points on an NQ long. since it's Friday and I'm green on the week, I'm thinking in terms of risk, not reward. I'm thinking that I'd rather go into the weekend green. That feels way better than ruining my green and becoming red. Right? Like I want to go hang out with my family and have a nice time. Right? I don't want to be angry because I just ruined all of my work because of one decision I made on the chart. You know? So the risk management decision as well. And now to close out that question is a fundamental, right? A fundamental analysis. If there's something happening, for example, let's go back over to the limit down days. If there's something happening in the fundamentals, right? This is the tariff news, right? We were having those trade deals. We're having limit. We were near the limits. We never had a halt, but we were near the limits. During times of increased volatility, because of the fundamentals that were occurring in the economy, if you've never experienced that before, if you've never experienced increased volatility like this, that would be another thing to say, hey, let's let this, pass, and then I'll engage with price again. Let the fundamentals clear up a little bit, let things cool down, then I'll go back to trading. Okay, so multiple different things that would tell me not to trade. That is my list of things that I would consider not trading. Very good question. Let's see what's going on now. Let's see if any of the information changed. Not much has changed. There is some bullish SMT now, right? ES did not take out the Asia low, while NQ did take out the Asia low, right? This would be another crack in correlation. So it does make sense that it changed direction there. Okay, but we didn't get a change in the state of delivery yet. It would have to close above that down close candle. The 5-minute time frame got a change in the state of delivery. Notice how it wasn't done with displacement though, right? Where's the FVG? There is none. So I'm not interested in looking at any other targets at the moment. This is one of those moments in time where, you don't have to know the direction of price during every single price fluctuation. I was able to point to the lows as a target because it was very clear to me. Now that that has occurred, now that the objective was completed, now I'm going to the sidelines. I don't need to know where every single price fluctuation is going. So I don't have a direction right now. I did a good job going to the lows, and that's all we have as of right now. So feel free to throw any more questions or comments in chat. We can continue to keep going over information. How do you find such peace of mind? Experience. That comes from time in the market. We're closing in on a decade here of staring at this screen. I think if you do something every single day for a decade, you'll build that conviction as well. Ash, so SMT isn't really the model you normally trade. And can you also explain which time frame you use for your model? SMT is a confluence to an idea. The model that I trade is the unicorn model, right? I just explained it earlier. Time is the most important element. Draw and liquidity is the second most important element. Unicorn entry function. That is the model that I trade, right? So in terms of a model, time, draw and liquidity, breaker block plus FEG. That's the model I trade. If I want confluence to an idea, right? And when you were in school and you wrote an essay, they told you that you had to have, credible sources to your information. And you had to cite those sources. That's what SMT is, right? When you have information, you then need credibility to that idea. That's what SMT is. So SMT is not a standalone model. That is not the model I trade. The model I trade is time, draw and liquidity, breaker block plus FEG. When SMT occurs, that gives me confluence to the model that I'm already trading. Very good question, though. I do also want to take a moment to say thank you. I do really think that going over these questions, sharing these experiences, getting through this information daily really provides a lot of value. So everybody that's here, thank you. All the questions are greatly appreciated. All of the information is greatly appreciated. Being able to work with like-minded professionals really provides a lot of value. Getting to go over this information really provides a lot of experience. And that experience is what creates the conviction. So if we continue to keep showing up and going through this information, that's where we're going to get the conviction for this business. And in a business that's so isolated, getting to do it with chat, with everybody else here, gives us so many more experiences than we would if we did it on our own, right? If I was only going over my own information each day, then I would be limited to my own experience. But we get to share these experiences with everybody else. So I just want to take a moment to say thank you for everybody that's participating. It really is greatly appreciated. It's providing that conviction. We have to show up for our session and gain that conviction through experience. So every time we continue to keep working and learning, that's what we're going to need for our executions. That's how we become better operators. Right? You don't think LeBron James only shoots the ball during the game, right? No. Shoots the ball every day of his life. And that's the point. We need to gain conviction every chance we get. So we do have another 15, 16, 17 minutes left here for today's segment. Please continue to keep throwing questions in there. We'll gladly continue to keep going over some information. Again, in terms of current price action, my target of the lows were hit. Ever since that target was hit, I'm not in a rush to point to anything else. It's a Friday. I'm already green on the week. I'm not looking to ruin that. I'm going to remain green on the week because I'd rather go into the weekend green. So go ahead, throw any questions or comments in chat. We can continue to keep going over the information. Outside of trading, what is your haircut? Perfect. I mean, we all need haircuts too, right? Nice little fade on the sides, and then we got to line up the beard as well. So trim the beard, a little fade on the sides. For anybody looking for a haircut. Perfect question. Questions on the SMTs? Yeah, we can go over SMT real quick. SMT, is a crack in correlation between two correlated assets. So NQ and ES are two correlated assets. They should be moving the same at the same time. When they don't move the same at the same time, that's what the crack in correlation is. So let's start with bearish SMT. Okay. When analyzing bearish SMT, you're looking at the highs. Okay. Take a look at this here. Let's say that this is ES. Let's say that this is NQ, right? Two correlated assets. Now, this is how you can determine SMT using the same 2 points in time, right? Say this is, let's say this candle is 8 a.m. Let's say this candle is 9 a.m. Same thing over here. So using two correlated assets, using the same 2 points in time, they should be doing the same at the same time. When they're not, that's what a crack in correlation is. So notice how at 9 a.m., ES takes out the 8 a.m. candle high. And then we look at NQ, and you can see that at 9 a.m., it failed to take out that 8 a.m. candle high. This is bearish SMT. NQ should have done the same thing as ES. NQ should have done this, but it didn't. That's what a crack in correlation is. So when you see this crack in correlation, SMT serves the purpose of showing when liquidity has been taken or strength or weakness in the marketplace. So since we're looking at bearish SMT, we're using the same 2 points in time to analyze, and we want to see a crack in correlation when we're analyzing the highs. Seeing that NQ failed to take out the 8 a.m. high shows that NQ is the weaker pair. The pair that creates the failure swing is the weaker pair for bearish SMT. And it's the same exact thing for bullish SMT. It's the same exact thing, right? It's just now you're analyzing the lows. That's the only difference. Now you're analyzing the lows. All right, so now we would analyze the lows. This is now bullish SMT. See the difference here? ES failed to take out the 8 a.m. low, while NQ did take out the 8 a.m. low. That would be bullish SMT. And this would show that ES is the stronger pair. So analyze the lows for bullish SMT, analyze the highs for bearish SMT, use the same 2 points in time when analyzing, use two correlated assets when analyzing. Okay. And just know that it's not a standalone trigger. It's confluence to an idea. Very good job. Great question. And this is exactly what I'm referring to. Every time we get to go over this type of information, that's what builds conviction. Right. And so now to use price action with that, either go back to the beginning of this episode or go back to the beginning of my segment, because we pointed to this SMT here. You can see that NQ did not take out the high while ES did, right? And let's use the same 2 points in time. This is 1300 and this is 9. This is 1300 and this is 9. 9 is here. Notice how ES took out the high and Q did not take out the high. Right? Now pair that with a clear draw on liquidity, right? We pointed to equal lows. Now you can see why I was pointing to London lows and Asia lows as a target. And it did a beautiful job going down there. And notice how NQ went down there first and further than ES. Notice how ES did not reach Asia low. That's because ES is the stronger pair, says the SMT. The SMT says that NQ is the weaker pair, which makes sense that it took out Asia low. Very good information. Right, and now we're dealing with that same situation now. Right, ES took out London low, but did not take out Asia low. This is now bullish SMT because NQ did take out Asia low and ES did not. So ES would be the stronger pair, right? ES would be the stronger pair. I just have no opinion in terms of target because one, I'm already green on the week, so I'm done for the week. Two, where are the equal highs? Right, like I want equal highs as a draw on liquidity. So this high was taken out. These highs were taken out. These highs were taken out. This would be one of the moments in time where I have no opinion. I'd rather stay on the sideline. Okay. You don't need to know where every single price fluctuation is going. So I have no opinion. I'm not looking for higher prices. My objective on the day was completed. I came in, created a game plan, got a result to that game plan. Now that we have that, this is where patience comes in. Okay, so great SMT conversation. If you guys want to throw any more questions or comments in chat, I still have another 9 minutes before we wrap this up. Do you use order flow tools, outside resources when trading? What you see on the screen is what I use. So I don't use indicators, right? Yes, this is an indicator, but that's just because I like to have my name on here and the writing. That's not like an actual indicator. I don't use, moving averages. I don't use volume. I don't use RSI. I just look at candlesticks. Not to say that that's right or wrong. Everybody interprets price to their preference, and that's completely fine. I'm just stating I don't use any indicators. I don't use Bookmap. I don't use any outside resources. Just candlesticks for me. Ash, is that actually your background? No, that's not my house. Look, you can tell by my hand disappearing. It's one of the backgrounds. That is not my house. You should notice Burke's background, no? It's the same thing. What's your thoughts on moving stop loss to break even? That's a risk tolerance. Some people would rather be more risk off, right? So there's individuals that want to be right or right out. Simply put, that's completely okay, right? Being right or right out. Those are the individuals that place their stop losses at break even when they get a chance to put their stop loss at break even. That's completely fine, as long as you're okay with break even trades, right? So for an individual that takes more trades than I do, that's probably fine. But since I have a lower frequency of trades, I assume the risk and do a fixed risk to reward. Now, with that being said, I'm also human. So there are moments in time where I make mistakes, just like everybody else. There have been moments in time where I've closed the position early or had an emergency come up and I had to leave the chart. So if I'm not going to manage the position, I will also close the position. What I focus on is 1 to 2 risk to reward. I put the stop loss at invalidation. I leave it there. I put my take profit, and then I wait to see which one gets hit next, either stop loss or take profit. I'm not the individual to move my stop loss to break even. It's because I assume the risk before the risk is taken. Okay. And the frequency in which I trade is less than what other people trade. So I need that one position to work out or not. I don't take like 10 trades a week. Okay. Very good question. Very good question. So we'll go with one more question. We only got a couple more minutes, so feel free to throw one more question in there. The weekend is upon us. The weekend is upon us. Time to touch some grass, do something good for the soul, spend some time with the family, have some good food, get some sunlight, do something to recharge the battery, do something good for the soul so that we can be ready to go next week as well. Perfect way to end the week with another phenomenal question. What was your biggest mistake in your journey? Setting a time limit on myself. One of my biggest mistakes. Thinking that I should be having certain expectations of when certain things should happen instead of allowing them to happen naturally. So don't limit yourself. Don't put any type of expectations. Don't put a time limit on it. Just focus on the now. Focus on working hard every single chance you can get. Focus on the process. Allow the results to be a byproduct of it. Everybody's unique to their own journey. So, setting expectations because you're comparing yourself to someone else doesn't make any sense, because the only person that's ever going to click the button is you. So take extreme ownership in your abilities. Focus on working hard. Show up relentlessly looking to work and learn every single week. And be objective to that. Okay, don't allow some kind of emotion to come in to then deter you from future experiences. Just focus on working hard. Very good information. Very good question. if I knew that from the very beginning, there'd probably be a bunch of obstacles that I didn't have to go through. But when you force yourself upon the market, when you force a unrealistic time frame instead of just allowing it to happen naturally, that's when mistakes occur. Just focus on working hard. Show up looking to be a student of the market. I'm closing in on 10 years. I'm still a student of the market. I still enjoy learning. It builds conviction. So that is the end of the stream for today. That also wraps up the week. Just a quick recap. Phenomenal week so far. The amount of value being provided every single day is truly astonishing. Between the giveaways, the resets, the expert traders that we have coming on here, getting to talk with so many different people, getting to hear their perspectives, getting to talk with chat, getting to go over these questions and information. It's really providing a lot of value. And we are going to continue to keep doing it. So right back here next week, same time, ready to work and learn. I really hope everybody has a great weekend. That will be the last of the stream. So go do something good for the soul, go touch some grass, and get ready to be right back here next week. I hope you all have a great weekend. See you all. Have a nice day.